So, like, how are you intending to do it? Like a general takeover of people, or maybe starting with the UN General Assembly? I mean, that's how I'd do it personally. Sort of invasion and body snatchers. Oh, hello! Welcome! My name's Sean. Welcome to the Rough Science Workshop. And today, the end of Slime Week. Every day this week, we've been looking at a different kind of slime. And today, we're going to finish it off by making a massive slime. 10 whole litres. But we'll get to that. First, before I start any of these workshops, I always like to say one thing, which is this. What is science? What is science for you? For me, science is a way to answer questions. And this week, the question that we've kind of been looking at, we've been looking at slime, but we've also been looking at chemistry and basically how different things mix together. Sometimes you can get two things, they mix together, and nothing happens. You just make a mixture. But that mixture has new properties. Sometimes you can mix two things and that stuff would react. Maybe it's a big violent reaction that makes lots of heat. Or maybe it's a reaction that's very, very simple and draws heat out of the environment. Well, the slimes that we looked at this week, on Monday, we started with the cornflower slime. In fact, let's have a closer look at this. Our cornflower slime was simply just a mixture of getting corn flour and putting it into water, and what we end up with is this weird sort of substance that people like to call oobleck, and it kind of moves weirdly like a solid if it's been sitting around for a while, but if you allow it to flow, it can flow like a liquid. So if we get a piece of this, you'll see it's starting to drip from my fingers. But then if you try to move it fast, it's like a solid. That's a weird thing. So that was the cornflower slime on Monday. On Tuesday, we looked at something called psyllium husk. And psyllium husk made this kind of weird slime. It's solidified over the last couple of days, but what we did was we mixed it in water and then we put it into a microwave, or you could put it into a pot over a stove, and it makes this strange stretchy stuff. Psyllium husk you can buy from health food shops, but you can also get it as Metamucil. It's a product that you can get, that people get if they're constipated, and you can do exactly the same thing. You can mix it in water, then you can put it in the microwave and makes this slime. Now on Wednesday we saw some other slimes. I'll skip Wednesday for a second. We'll go to Thursday, which was yesterday, where we looked at plaster of Paris. And plaster of Paris we got a reaction which eventually ended up with this solid plaster, and we made little pots with it. This was a piece of material that we soaked in the plaster of Paris and then let it dry, let it cure this way around. So it ended up as a little pot for our succulent, who wants to take over the world apparently. Okay. But on Wednesday, we were looking at a borax slime. And this borax slime, what we had with this was that we started off with two different types of base material, but we ended up adding some of this stuff. This is borax, and it ended up making this slime. Now one of them is this classic one that you can find in supermarkets all over the place. It is called Elmer's glue, and if you go and find Elmer's glue, you can actually find a little kit and you can make an Elmer's glue slime, which is a lot of fun. Actually, let's see if we can find a container and we'll just have a quick look at it. So let's come down here and just very quickly look at the Elmer's slime again. So the Elmer's slime, we could pour in, say, just a little bit of glue down the bottom there, about 100 mils or so. And the neat thing about it is that Elmer's slime also comes in different colors, like this one. And so you can actually get your base glue and then add to it some colored glue. And this one has actually got some sparkles in it. And you can add a little bit of this so that it gives it a bit of base color, or you could make the entire thing out of that glue itself. And to that, we mix it up a little bit, and we add a little bit of sodium bicarbonate. Once we've got it all mixed up like this, we then add to that whole mixture some of this stuff. This is some contact lens cleaner, and you put in as much of this as you want to put in order to make this glue kind of thicken up and bind together. So a little bicarb of soda there. There we go. And then a little splash of this. And I like to start with a little bit to begin with, and then add more and more. In fact, let's come up here and have a closer look. You can see inside there my glue is starting to bind to itself more and more. If I add even more of that contact lens cleaner, it's going to bind to itself even stronger. In fact, let's get down close and have a look at it all poured out. We'll pour it out here. There we go. And this is very satisfying, very cool slime. If we pick it up, we can start moving it around, and oh no, we got a bit of a problem because it's very sticky at this point. But the more of that contact lens cleaner you end up mixing into it, the more it's going to stick to itself. So over time, you could end up with some really cool sticky slime that doesn't stick so much to your fingers, but more wants to stick to itself. All right, let's get rid of this. Blah. I don't want a repeat of Wednesday where it ended up just sticking everywhere. Oh no. Okay, yes. Paper towel, please. Oh, thank goodness for that. Okay. Now, here's the thing about the Elmer's glue slime. The Elmer's glue slime is really expensive. If you want to buy that slime kit and you want to buy a lot of that slime, it's for a little bottle of it, this size, can be quite a few dollars. So, the other slime that we looked at on Wednesday was the slime that we used guar gum to make. And guar gum is something else that you can buy at a health food store. And just for a few dollars of this, you can make so much of this. And in fact, on Wednesday, I went, you know what? Let's have a go. Let's try making 10 liters of it. Now, I'm about to break a cardinal rule of science communication. If you ask any science teacher anywhere who has been teaching science for a number of years, they'll tell you that there is a number one rule, which is to never ever try something for the first time in front of an audience. I am going to try this for the first time in front of an audience. I haven't made 10 liters of slime before, but I have made 1 liter of slime, so how hard could it be? Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some water. This is 5 liters of water. I'm going to just batch this a little bit. So instead of making 10 liters in one go, I'm going to start with 5 liters and make one 5 liter batch and make another 5 liter batch and put it all together. So if we look down into this bucket in this direction, what we will see is a few things happening, because the first thing I want to do is add some guar gum. So in general, the recipe goes like this. We need 1 liter of water to 10 grams of guar gum. So what I've got here is 50 grams of guar gum and 5 liters of water. But here's the trouble. If you just simply dump this in there, what's going to happen is we end up with this great big wad, this clump, and it doesn't dissolve properly. So what we need to do is we need to sprinkle a little bit in like this, and then get something like this to mix it around. And then sprinkle a little bit more,
and then mix it around. Now I'm going to be doing this a little bit quickly so that I'm going to get some lumps. That's going to be hard to avoid. But some ways to avoid getting lumps. One way is to make sure you get nice warm or hot water when you do this. And the other thing too is to make sure you mix it really, really well. Oh, hang on. One other thing I forgot to mention. In this water already, I've also put a little bit of glycerine. It comes in a little bottle and you pour it in. And the glycerine, we need about 10 grams of glycerine for every 1 litre of water. Now I've put 50 grams of glycerine into this water already, so all sitting there ready to go. So mixing that in, yeah. So glycerine comes in a little bottle that looks like this, and you can get it at chemists. You can also get it, again, health food places, supermarkets, and it's quite cheap per bottle. All right, a bit more of this, and we're doing quite well actually. But what I found is the guar gum, as you add more and more of it to the water starts to get thick. But because here's the thing, guar gum is a thickener. It's used in cooking to thicken up the foods that it's mixed to. So the more that I add to the water here, the thicker the water is going to become. Other things that act like thickness are things like cornstarch or corn flour, and other types of chemicals. If you have a look at your ingredient list to certain items, you'll see that thickeners are something that are used quite a lot in cooking. But also in products like shampoos and so on. You don't want your shampoo to just kind of run out all over the place. You want a certain amount of thickness to your shampoo so that you can squirt it into your hand and be able to manipulate it into your hair without it running all over your hand. So there's thickeners that are used in certain shampoos and conditioners, other soaps, hand soaps, things that you might find in the laundry, things that you might find in the bathroom. Now, this is kind of pretty heavy stuff to do. So let's bring out the big guns. If you've got electric beaters, go for some electric beaters. I don't have electric beaters. What I have is a power drill. Back above us. Liters of slime, 10 liters of slime. All right, I've got all of it in there. Pretty nice. Okay, so that is now 10 liters of, well, 5 liters of the guar gum mixture. And like I said, you're going to possibly end up with a few lumps, particularly if you're doing it as fast as what I'm doing it right at the moment. But this stuff has really thickened up the water. It's kind of feeling like some really thin jelly. And with a little bit of time, some of those other powders and clumps can disappear. Which is why I did my other 5 liters earlier. This is my other 5 liters with the guar gum powder, and you can see it in here. So this, they're both ready to go. 5 liters over here and 5 liters over here. Now, at this point, to use the borax to actually start to bind this stuff, we've got to do a little bit of safety. So borax like I said, it comes in this container just here. And what I've done is I've added some already to some warm water here. So that's about 1 litre of water, and I've put about 50 grams of borax altogether into that. And that's going to be our activation agent. When I pour it into this thickened mixture of guar gum here, it's going to start making it bind together. And that's because the guar gum is known as a polymer. Now, we haven't talked a lot about polymers this week. We've made mention of them on Wednesday. But polymers are a type of molecule. And what you could do is imagine that polymers are, instead of, say, like water, which floats as a molecule and in a liquid form, they get attracted to other water molecules, but they don't actually sort of bind up hard. They have a little attraction between them, but enough to sort of keep them together and keeps it in that nice liquid form. But polymers can bind very strongly, particularly to form chains. So it could look a little bit like this. Imagine, here's one part of polymer connecting together into a long chain like this. And what the guar gum is basically this polymer connecting together like this, but what the borax does is that it forces this polymer to do something which is called cross-linking. So imagine we've got one polymer chain like this, and then we add some borax, and these polymer chains start to cross-link like this, and you end up with these great big sheets and masses of polymer chains all connected together. And so that's what our slime is. It's all being attracted to itself the more borax that we add in there. But borax is not great for your skin, so in order to do this next bit, the other day I was using just small amounts and just pouring them into cups, but here I'm going to be sticking my hands in this, so I want to make sure I'm going to keep myself nice and safe. So I'm going to keep my hands nice and gloved, and because I like my eyes exactly where they are, I'm going to put these on as well. If you're American, feel free, if it's your civil liberty, not to protect yourself. Okay, I wonder if we could switch over to this camera here, and let's have a close look and see what happens next. We're going to pour in a little bit of this, and as I pour it in, it's going to start mixing and joining up the guar gum. And already starting to cling to my beater here. So the more of this borax mixture that I throw in here, the more the slime is going to cling to itself. Okay. Now I actually had a little less guar gum in this bucket than I did in this bucket. So I want to see what happens now if I get another jug of the borax mixture. Now there's another jug just behind you, Gabe, if I could grab that off you. And we'll see what happens when we add some of this to this bucket over here. All right, let's get it into a place where people can see this. Okay. Okay, I'll pour it in there. We'll mix this one around too. Can we see it from above? Great. And like before, it's starting to bind to itself. Let's go some more here. We've got our two slimes and they're going to be slowly curing away here. Oh boy. Okay, there we go. And by mixing it like this, I'm kind of breaking it up so that the borax mixture gets to mix in with different parts of the slime that didn't get a chance to mix. Oh, this has definitely reacted quite a... Whoa! Oh. Okay. Well, for this next bit, I'm going to need to clear the deck a little bit. So let's move down some of this stuff out of the way. And let's actually get a feel for what 10 litres of slime actually looks like. Alright, watch out, Barbara. Woo! Okay. All right. Let's come back to camera one, Gabe, and let's get a sense of this stuff. Here we go. Whoa. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's like that movie. That one from about that big blobby thing that came from space and went around eating people. You know the one? Yeah. The Thing by John Carpenter. No, The Blob. Oh my god. So that's 5 litres of slime. That's struggling to stay on the table. How about if we see it from up above? Oh boy. And here's another 5 litres of slime, making 10 litres of slime. Which, to be honest, wow, it's going everywhere. Why, yes, this was a great idea. Hey, I got an idea. Hey, get Bonnie in here. No, I'm kidding. Don't get Bonnie in here. That would be... Bonnie's a dog, for those people who haven't tuned in before today, and she would love this, and she would also be terrified by this. 10 litres of slime is quite a lot. Alright, here we go. Here we go. Let's get the last little bit. And there we have it. Ladies and gentlemen, camera one. 10 litres of slime dripping off the table. This is so nice. Look at this. It's fantastic. Yeah. 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 Nah. Yeah. Okay. So, 10 litres of slime, about 3 litres of which is currently in my shoes. There you have it. So at this point, the question is, will it cause a problem? Well, will it cause a problem to my computer if it falls on it? Is it still dangerous to touch? Well, the borax, as it starts to react with it, you start to get less and less of it. So, but at this stage, I'm still going to keep my gloves on while I'm touching this. If you're making this in smaller quantities and put it in bags over a period of time, it will be okay. Just be sure after you've finished playing with it, don't rub it in your eyes, don't eat it. Make sure you wash your hands afterwards. But there you go, 10 litres of slime. That was certainly something. Now, the point of all of this is that this is very cheap to make. The Guar gum itself is only a little small amount of dollars for a little packet. The glycerine is also very cheap, and then borax you can buy a big tub for around $6, and that isn't the most slime that we could make. We could perhaps even make like 50 litres of slime. Oh, Gabe, I've got a great idea. 50 litres of slime. 50 litres of... No, I'm not going to make 50 litres of slime today. Maybe sometime soon, but not today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody, or everyone at home watching this. Sorry. Actually, can we switch to this camera for a second? I've got to show everybody what I'm looking at here. Basically, it's just everything that's happening here at my feet. Just all this slime that's come down. It's very slippery. There we go. All right, back over here. And that was Slime Week. Slime Week ending with 10 litres of slime. And what I'd like to do is to finish off, just to remind you that everything that we've been looking at has been some form of chemistry. And if you want to find out more about how to make these recipes, roughscience.net is where I'm putting up the information about all of the activities that we've seen this week. Slime Week brings us to an end this week. Next week, we're going to be looking at a completely different theme. We're going to be looking at electricity and magnets. Magnets, how do they work? We're going to find out next week as we look at electricity and magnets throughout all of next week. 4:30 weekdays here at the Rough Science Workshop. Now, what can you do to help us out? Well, there is one key thing that you could do. Follow us on Twitch. If you are on Twitch right now, make an account and click follow on the Rough Science Workshop thing. It helps us out so much. The more followers we get, the bigger following we can generate, and the bigger community we can also generate. One final thing. This week's been a tough week. It's been a tough week for a lot of people all over the world, but in particular in Australia and Victoria, we've got lockdown going on and so on. So look, as we go into the weekend, find someone you love, let them know that everything's fine, and together, maybe together, if you can't do it now, maybe in several weeks' time when the lockdown's finished, together, make 10 litres of slime. Thanks everyone, have a great weekend, we'll see you next week, and don't forget to tidy up after yourself. Oh boy. Let's get a mop, Gabe.